What's up everybody, it's DesertFox back with another straight out of the box, and today we're going to be looking at the EMG F1 Arms BDR-15. At the time of this filming, this gun is currently under pre-order status and is expected to be released around August 2018. So just note that all the features that we cover in this video may or may not be in the final product. Okay, let's open up the box and take a look at what's inside. On the front of the box, we have the F1 logo, and on the sides, it just says BDR-RR. There's no other information. What I like about how EMG packages its guns is that it has this top layer of foam along with all the other giant pieces of foam inside, so you know the gun is well protected. Some companies just leave this part open and the gun can still jump around and fall out and possibly be damaged. So great job on the packaging, EMG. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, I'm sure you guys have already noticed that this gun is bright red, and it is a very nice looking red. Now it does come in several other colors to include blue, black, and I believe silver. There's a lot of color options when it comes to the F1. It's kind of heavy. It's a lot heavier than I was expecting. Okay, let's put this down for a second and see what else is inside the box. We have a magazine. It's a high cap. And let's see, some more foam stuff. We've got a dejamming rod. It's always handy to have. And that's pretty much it. There should be a manual. Oh, here it is. Fell out. Okay, so we've got the manual. Well, it's the QR code to the manual. I have downloaded a QR code reader, so we are going to check to see what this has in store for us online. So we've got the contents of the box. We've got a dejamming rod, a magazine, and the gun itself. We've got a gun stand, so I don't have to hold this thing. So let's start from the back. Now we have a telescoping crane stock. Let's make sure that the battery actually indeed goes in the crane stock. Sometimes you'll get a gun and you'd think the battery goes in one place and then it goes in another. It's really confusing, especially when you don't have a manual. All right, okay, so we've got a bunch of wires back here and the Tamiya plug. As soon as I get it out, I can show you guys what it is. Come on. Oh, I hate when this happens. Okay, let's take the crane stock off to get to this. There we go. Well, that's a lot to go back there. Okay, so we've got a small Tamiya adapter. We've got our fuse right in here. In case you guys were wondering what this little cylinder is in the rear of the gun, this is where your fuse goes. Open it up and check the fuse. Fuse looks good. One would hope that you wouldn't buy a new gun and the fuse is blown, but you never know. Now, one thing to note, if you look on the evike.com website and you look at the F1 currently, you'll see that the rear of the gun has tons of options. You can get it with this crane stock, you can get it with just a straight buffer tube, you can get it with, I think, a mag pull stock. There's lots of options for the rear of this gun. Okay, on this side of the stock, we have a QD sling attachment point. And it looks like there is another one on the other side. So for all you left-handed shooters, you have the option to switch it. And it doesn't look like there's another sling attachment point anywhere else on the gun that I can see right now. Yeah, don't think there's anywhere else to attach a sling. But at least they give you one back here. Woo. Okay. All right, let's get this back on. I'm gonna gently put this back inside the stock. This is why battery compartment spacing is very important. As you can see, I'm having a really tough time just accessing the battery and getting it back on. In fact, I'm really freaking struggling right now. Come on! There we go, okay. The wire was not letting it get on there. But now that I've folded it over, okay, there we go. Okay, good. Now I've got the wire how I want it to be, so that way later, when I put a battery in, I'm not trying to fight this thing as much. Put this thing back on there. Oh my God, come on. Why? Why are you so hard to put back together? All right, off to a great start. Okay, moving up the gun, we've got an ambidextrous charging handle. which does not look like it does anything because apparently we don't have a dust cover. I did not notice that until now. That's kind of strange. However, when you look at the description of this gun, and I'm sure you've already noticed that it's got all these crazy serrations and cuts in it, and like the magazine well is hollow. The overall premise of this gun is it's trying to cut down on as much weight as possible. So by taking out little ounces of metal, it's supposed to equal pounds. The gun is still quite heavy, mainly because of the gearbox, and it makes for a very untraditional look. But I mean, it's a look that's kind of cool and very unique. So we've got an ambidextrous charging handle with no dust cover, and we also have an ambidextrous selector switch. And the selector switch feels really nice. It's got a positive lock when you're cycling between fire selection modes. So safe, fire, single, and then auto. That's nice. Okay, we've got a bolt catch that obviously doesn't do anything. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Magazine release, it's really stiff. Let's see what happens when we put the mag in. Wait, what? Oh, there we go. Okay, that's weird. Okay, there's like a little guide channel here on the magazine well, and if you come in at a too steep of an angle, it won't engage. Yeah, like that. But it goes in, so it just takes a bit of practice. Yep. Okay, we've got a straight trigger, an enhanced magazine well. Trigger feels good, stiff. Moving up on the rail, we've got this nice flattened area for you to put your hand. There is key mod all over the rail at the 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock position. We've got this very nice chrome barrel or silver barrel. It has a very cool F1 muzzle brake with our federally mandated orange tip. And on the top, we have one long monolithic rail. The pistol grip is, it's kind of a shorter, it's a smaller, smoothened pistol grip. There's no grooves on here or stippling or anything, which is nice because that means you can customize it as you want or switch it out completely. Now, I'm sure the biggest thing that everyone probably notices is all of the serrations in the upper receiver particularly. And yes, the other side is completely exposed. So you can see here that it's got a ported cylinder, and you can see part of the mech box in this last serration on the upper receiver. So yeah, dirt could totally get inside your mech box, which is what you absolutely do not want whatsoever. So I definitely don't recommend using this gun outside in the elements. It's probably best to use this as a CQB gun or just anything indoor. If you want, you could probably change this receiver or maybe add a non-ported cylinder and then find something to cover this portion of the mech box. But stock, I definitely don't recommend using this thing outside. All right, let's take a look at the hop-up. And the hop-up is a dial style hop-up. Let's make sure it actually spins. Sometimes these things just don't spin. Okay, it spins. We'll mess with the hop-up later. One of the biggest issues that a lot of people have when getting a new AEG is the hop-up doesn't work. Anyone who's well-versed in airsoft guns will know that the hop-up is basically the meat and potatoes of the gun. Without the hop-up, the gun really isn't going to work well. Your BBs are gonna go straight into the dirt, and you're probably not gonna have a fun time playing against other people. Okay, so let's take a look at the manual, or at least the QR code that comes with it. So we've got on one side, we've got just general information, the marker of the model. You get a code, certificate of authenticity with this hologram thing. And on the other side, you have a QR code for instructions and registration. And there's also a hyperlink to do all this, I guess. So let's try the QR code. So I've downloaded a QR code scanner on my phone. So let's scan this thing. All right, so we just, oh, okay, that was quick. Scanned it super fast. So it looks like we're here at the home page. There is one way, the EMG way. What are we, samurai? For the ultimate, there is one way. The EMG way. But wait, the ultimate what? It didn't say what the ultimate was. Okay. Welcome to EMG Arms, yada, 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 products, EMG training weapons. don't know if I like the use of the word weapons for an airsoft gun. Okay, so it didn't really bring me to any specific type link, but let's keep scrolling down. Maybe we'll see the F1 in here and we can click on it. There are a lot of very cool guns on here. Here we go. Okay, so let's tap on the EMG F1 Arms BDR-15. It's got a little bit of history about F1 Arms. Got some technical specs. Now these are the same specs that can be found on the evike.com website. Oh, you could buy it here, already purchased. Oh, you can, okay, so here's the register link, and that's it. We don't have any other real directions, but let's click on register now. See what happens. Product registration, product info, serial number, date purchase. Okay, there's no real instructions on this QR code on how to use the gun. There's more technical information, and then registration. At least the QR code link works, so that's a plus. But as I say in most straight out of the box videos, it is very important to have a good manual of instruction for an airsoft gun, because this could be someone's very first airsoft gun and they may not know how to use it whatsoever. So having instructions on how to properly use your gun, maintain it, is very important, especially when it comes to something as intricate as the hop-up. Not a lot of people just on the street know what a hop-up is, and if you hand someone an airsoft gun and they're completely brand new to it, they're not gonna know, you know, really anything, how to use the hop-up. Probably they probably wouldn't even know how to use the high cap. Definitely need better instructions. Now let's start testing some of the functionality of the gun to include the high cap, hop-up, and chrono. All right, we've got the BDR-15. I've put a battery in the back. It's not the most luxurious looking setup, but when you do get this gun, you could fandangle the battery yourself. There is definitely enough space in this crane stock for a triple cell battery like I'm using here. We're using a lithium polymer battery, 11.1. I'll have all the specs down below. I don't remember the discharge rate off the top of my head, but we've got a battery in the gun, and we've got the high cap. Now I've already filled the high cap with Elite Force 0.25 BBs. Let's make sure the high cap works. I'm gonna spin the wheel down on the bottom, and let's make sure the BBs come up to the top. All right, looks like the BBs have come up to the top, so the high cap should be working. Let's put it in the gun and get out some test shots. There's that funky magwell again. Whoa, I was actually not aiming for that. Okay, so our hop-up's way high. Let's see if we can bring it down a little bit. There is no directional arrow on the dial hop-up, so I just kind of have to move it one way or the other. Okay, so I moved it all the way to the left, which is this way. Let's see what the BBs do. All right, the BBs went straight down into the, well, they didn't go straight down, but I did see a big dip. So let's bring it up a little bit, going to the right now, the opposite direction. That should give us a little bit of hop up. There we go, now we're shooting pretty straight. Okay, so let's shoot this other target down to the right. Okay, so the high cap is not firing anymore. Let's spin it, it needs to be spun. All right, the high cap is working. So let's hit that last red face target. Got it. Okay, now let's do full auto. Make sure full auto works. All right, full auto works, cool. Now, one thing that I didn't see, and it wasn't really said anywhere in the literature, is I guess this is an electric blowback. The fake bolt here is actioning back every time it fires. You guys get a better look at that. Okay, so along with this high cap, I'm gonna try out two other mags. I've got a PTS EPM and an Elite Force, just regular magazine. So let's see if these feed. So I'm sure not everyone's gonna be using the standard high cap that comes with the gun. Also, we'll see if it fits. Okay, so the PTS EPM has fit. See if it fires. I'm on semi. All right, so the EPM is feeding. Let's try the Elite Force magazine. And the Elite Force mag is working. So definitely works with two of the more readily available mid caps on the market. 371, 370. Oh, I hit a beach ball. 371.2, 351.6, whoa, 369.8, 369.2, 368.2, 347, 367.9, 368.6, 350.5, 371.5, 370.1. We are kind of all over the place with this gun. Let's shoot one more. 368.8. Final thoughts on the EMG F1 BDR-15. This gun definitely has a very unique look and style to it. I really dig the serrations and the key mod and all the, not finer details, but all the details that have been put into this gun. I really like this groove that they've left here at the front for your hand. That's really neat. However, if you do want to put, say, a vertical grip or an AFG or something, you've got very limited space. One thing that was mentioned to me by the guys at EMG is that the key mod sections are not to real gun spec. They're actually to airsoft spec. What airsoft spec is, I'm not quite sure, but don't get real key mod rail segments for this particular gun because they will not fit. You need to get some sort of airsoft one, which is actually a bummer if you already have a bunch of key mod rail segments. I definitely don't like the fact that dirt and other grime and all sorts of crazy objects can get inside your mech box. That is the absolute last thing you want going on inside your airsoft gun, is just junk to get inside of it, especially in the cylinder. However, if you are just planning to play with this gun, CQB, there shouldn't be that many crazy things flying around or other objects that would easily get into your cylinder. The battery compartment space is pretty good. Good job, EMG, on giving us enough battery space for this gun. Functionality-wise, the hop-up did work. It was adjusted. Fire modes all worked correctly, and the gun shot fairly well. The electric blowback I thought was a nice touch. I didn't realize that at the beginning. However, the FPS on this gun was kind of all over the place. We had a series of about 4 shots that were about 370, and then all of a sudden we dipped down to 350 into the 340s, and then we kind of were between this 350 to 360 mark. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with that, but this is a prototype, so things may change when it eventually comes to market, hopefully in August 2018. That's gonna wrap up this straight out of the box with the EMG F1 BDR-15. As always, this is Jet Desert Fox, and I'll see you on the field.